I always thought my sister, Emily, was irresponsible, but I never expected her to do this. It started with a simple notification on my phone: credit card transaction. $5,642.36. My stomach dropped. I hadn't made any big purchases. I quickly opened the banking app, my fingers trembling. The charge was from an airline. An airline. I immediately called Emily. She answered on the second ring, her voice bubbly as always. "Oh, hey. What's up?" I skipped the pleasantries. "Did you just use my credit card to book a flight?" There was a pause, too long, too guilty. Then she let out a nervous laugh. "Okay, so don't be mad, but, yes. It's for a family trip. Mom and Dad really needed a break, and, well, you weren't using the card, so I figured." "You figured?" I exploded. "You stole my card for a vacation." "Not stole. Borrowed. You'll get the money back. Eventually." I couldn't believe it. Emily had always been reckless, but this was beyond anything she'd ever done. I wanted to scream, to cancel the tickets, to report my card stolen. But before I could even think of my next move, she hit me with something else. "Oh, and we're already at the airport. Flight's in 2 hours." I nearly dropped my phone. She had already booked and checked in. I was fuming, but something in her voice made me pause. She sounded uneasy. Not her usual overconfident self. "Wait," I said, lowering my voice. "What's wrong?" "Well," she said hesitantly, something weird just happened." "Weird how?" I could hear the tension in her breath. There were these security guys, really serious ones. They pulled us aside. We thought it was just a random check, but then they showed us a picture. My heart pounded. "A picture of what?" Emily hesitated, then whispered, "Of us." But it wasn't just a normal picture. It was a surveillance shot. And it wasn't from today. It was from 3 days ago. In an airport we've never been to. I went ice cold. What the hell was going on? I gripped my phone tighter, my pulse hammering in my ears. "A surveillance shot," I repeated. "From 3 days ago." Emily's voice was uncharacteristically shaken. "Yeah. The security guys showed it to us on some little tablet. It was us, standing in an airport terminal. But we weren't there 3 days ago. We were at home. Cass, it doesn't make any sense." Panic prickled in my chest. I was still furious about the stolen credit card, but now a much bigger problem had taken its place. "Who else is with you?" I asked. "Mom, Dad, and Jason," she said, referring to her boyfriend. "They took all of us aside, separately. They're asking questions like where we were this week, if we've traveled before, if we've lost any luggage. But I swear, we've never even left town." I swallowed hard. "Emily, this sounds serious." "No kidding." I heard voices in the background. Stern, professional, commanding. Emily whispered, "I have to go, they're coming back." Then the call disconnected. I stood in my apartment, gripping my phone, trying to process everything. My sister had stolen my credit card. Yes, that was bad. But this was something else. I paced the room, my mind spinning. The fact that they were shown surveillance images of themselves in an airport they'd never visited. That wasn't just a glitch or a mistake. That was terrifying. I needed to do something. First, I called the airline, pretending to be Emily. After 20 minutes of getting transferred, I finally got through to someone who confirmed the flight details. It was an international trip, destination France. I clenched my jaw. My sister had really gone all out. Then I dug deeper. I pulled up my bank account and scrolled through transactions, trying to find anything else suspicious. That's when I noticed something strange. A charge from 3 days ago. It was small, only $12.78, but it stood out because of where it was made, an airport gift shop in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta. I hadn't been to Atlanta. Emily hadn't either, at least, that's what she claimed. But here was my card, used there 3 days ago. A cold dread settled over me. Who had used my card? And how did that connect to the security footage? I didn't have time to think too hard about it, because my phone rang. Emily. I answered immediately. What's happening? Her voice was a whisper. Cass, they're taking Jason into another room. They're saying something about a flight we took a week ago. What flight? I don't know, she hissed. We weren't on a flight a week ago. But they keep showing us pictures of us boarding a plane in Atlanta. Same clothes, same bags, even Jason's dumb hat. But we weren't there. Cass, this isn't just a mix-up. My skin crawled. Emily, do they think you're criminals? She hesitated. I don't know. But the security guy had a gun. That was enough for me. Stay on the phone, I ordered, grabbing my car keys. I'm coming to the airport. If something happens, just keep talking, don't let them take your phone. She sniffed, her usual bravado completely gone. Cass, I'm scared. I know, I said, my voice softer. Just hold tight. By the time I got to the airport, my mind was racing with possibilities. Identity theft. Some kind of deepfake scam. Or something even worse. I rushed through the terminals, finally spotting my family in a restricted security area behind a glass partition. My parents looked shaken. Emily was clutching Jason's arm. A group of TSA agents stood nearby, speaking in hushed voices. I marched up to the nearest officer. That's my family, I said, trying to sound authoritative. I need to know what's going on. The officer gave me a hard look. Are you Cass Sid? He hesitated. Yes. He exchanged a glance with his colleague before turning back to me. You need to come with us. Something about his tone made my stomach drop. They led me to a small, windowless office where a man in a dark suit was waiting. He looked official, government, not just airport security. He wasted no time. Cass Sid, are you aware that your sister and her family have been flagged for suspicious activity? I crossed my arms. They haven't done anything. He slid a tablet across the table. Then explain this. I looked down, and my breath caught in my throat. It was a video of me, standing in Atlanta's airport, talking to someone in a hoodie. The footage was time-stamped, 3 days ago. But I wasn't there. I hadn't been there. And yet, there I was, clear as day, carrying my backpack, checking my phone. My mind reeled. What the hell? The agent studied me. Are you still going to tell me you don't know what's happening? I forced myself to stay calm. That's not me. His face remained unreadable. Then who is it? I had no answer. Because I was staring at myself in a place I had never been, in a moment I had never lived. And I had the sickening feeling that whatever was happening, it wasn't just about my sister anymore. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. I couldn't look away from the video on the tablet. There I was, standing in Atlanta's airport, wearing my favorite hoodie, the exact backpack I owned, even holding my phone the way I always did. But I hadn't been there. Not 3 days ago. Not ever. This wasn't just identity theft. This was something worse. The agent's eyes were locked onto mine, searching for any sign of deception. You expect me to believe that's not you? He asked. I swallowed hard. It's not me. I swear. The agent tapped the screen. The video kept playing. The version of me in the footage turned, speaking to someone in a dark hoodie. The resolution wasn't great, but the stranger's face was partially visible. He looked familiar. Something about him tugged at my memory, but I couldn't place it. Who is that? I asked. The agent didn't answer. Instead, he slid another image across the table. It was a passport scan of me, but the details were off. The birth date was wrong. The middle name wasn't mine. And then he showed me another one. Boarding pass. Cassid Reynolds. Atlanta to Paris. A week ago. My heart pounded. This isn't real, I whispered. This has to be some kind of deepfake, someone pretending to be me. The agent leaned forward. That's exactly what we're trying to figure out. A sharp knock on the door interrupted us. A different officer stepped in, whispering something to the agent. His expression darkened. Then he turned back to me. You're coming with us. Before I could protest, the officer grabbed my arm, leading me out of the room. My mind was a whirlwind of panic and confusion. Outside, I saw my family still waiting. Emily spotted me first, her face lighting up, until she noticed the officer gripping my arm. "What the hell?" she blurted, standing up. "Cass, what's going on?" "I don't know," I said through clenched teeth. The agent spoke before I could. "Your sister's been linked to a case of international identity fraud and possible smuggling. Until we get some answers, she's not going anywhere." Mom gasped. Dad shot to his feet. Emily looked ready to murder someone. Jason just stared at me, pale as a ghost. "Wait," he said. "This isn't just about Cass Sid, is it?" The agent glanced at him. "Why do you ask?" Jason hesitated, then looked at Emily. We got another weird message this morning, right before we got pulled aside." Emily pulled out her phone, scrolling rapidly. Then she turned the screen toward me. I felt the blood drain from my face. It was an email. No sender name, no subject line. Just a single sentence. "If you leave, you'll regret it." And below that, an attachment. Emily tapped it open. It was a picture of us. Not from today. Not from security cameras. It was a selfie of our entire family. But here was the terrifying part. We had never taken it. I recognized the image, the way we stood, the clothes we were wearing, but none of us had posed for this picture. And yet, there it was, perfectly framed. I looked at Emily, my hands shaking. "Where did this come from?" "I don't know," she whispered. The agent snatched the phone, studying the photo. His jaw tightened. "We need to see all your devices. Now." Emily, Jason, and my parents hesitated, but after a second, they handed over their phones. The agent turned to me. "Yours too." I hesitated. My phone was my lifeline, my connection to the real world. But I had no choice. I handed it over. The agent signaled another officer, who took the devices and left. "Listen," I said, my voice steadier now. "I have no idea what's happening here. But someone is messing with us. Someone who has access to our photos, our travel records, hell, even our faces. If you want to figure this out, I'll help you. But you need to tell me what's really going on." The agent studied me for a long moment. Then he exhaled sharply. "Fine," he said. "Follow me." I followed the agent down a series of corridors, deeper into the airport security sector. Finally, he stopped at a door, swiped his badge, and led me into a dimly lit room. The walls were lined with monitors displaying different airports. Live feeds. Surveillance footage from around the world. My stomach twisted. The agent gestured to a large screen. "Watch." A grainy video played. It was an airport terminal in Paris. The timestamp was 3 days ago. And there, walking casually through the terminal, was my entire family. Emily, Jason, my parents, me. We were laughing, carrying luggage, looking like a perfectly normal group of travelers. But we had never been there. I turned to the agent. "What the hell is this?" "That's what we want to know," he said. "Because this exact scenario is happening to people all over the world." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He tapped a few keys, bringing up more footage. Different cities, different dates, different people. But the pattern was the same. In every video, someone appeared somewhere they were never supposed to be. Exact copies. Perfect doubles. Some of them were alone. Others were in groups. But they all had one thing in common. None of them remembered being there. My head spun. "You're saying there are copies of us?" "We don't know what they are," the agent admitted. "Doppelgangers. Clones. Advanced AI-generated replicas. All we know is that these duplicates have real passports, real identities, and a purpose we haven't figured out yet." I felt like I was going to be sick. "And you think we are next?" The agent nodded. "That email your sister got. It wasn't a warning." He turned back to the screen, rewinding the Paris footage. "Look at this." The video zoomed in on our faces. That's when I noticed something horrifying. Our duplicates weren't just walking casually. They were watching something. All of them, me, Emily, Jason, my parents, were staring in the same direction. The agent froze the frame, enhancing the image. And there, in the reflection of a glass window, was the thing we were looking at. A figure in a hoodie. The same hooded man from the Atlanta footage. Only this time, his face was fully visible. I gasped. Because now I remembered where I had seen him before. Not in real life. Not in passing. But in a dream. A recurring nightmare I'd been having for months. A nightmare where I was chased through an airport by someone I couldn't escape. A nightmare that suddenly felt very, very real. I turned to the agent, my pulse racing. I think I know who that is. The agent's expression darkened. Then you need to tell us. Because whoever he is, he's been waiting for you. The realization hit me like a freight train. I had seen that man before. Not in reality, but in my dreams. A nightmare I'd had for months, always the same. I was running through an airport, my lungs burning, my heart hammering in my chest. I didn't know why I was running or who I was running from, but I felt it, the presence behind me. The terror that gripped my body, the sense that if I stopped, even for a second, something terrible would happen. And now, here he was. In real footage. In my life. I turned to the agent, my mouth dry. That man, he's been in my dreams. The agent's brows knitted together. Dreams. I swallowed hard. I know it sounds insane, but I've seen him before. Not just once, over and over again. The agent didn't scoff or dismiss me. Instead, he exchanged a look with his colleague. You're not the first person to say that. My skin prickled. What do you mean? I asked. The agent tapped the keyboard again, pulling up another set of videos. More airports. More duplicates. More families like mine, completely normal people caught in an impossible situation. And in nearly every clip, there was him. The hooded figure. Watching. Waiting. This man has appeared in over a dozen cases like yours, the agent said. Different names, different identities. No fingerprints, no official records. He's a ghost. I stared at the screen, my heart racing. Then who is he? We don't know. The agent exhaled. But we do know this, every single person who's reported seeing him in their dreams. They disappeared. I felt the floor tilt beneath me. Disappeared. Gone. Off the grid. No trace. Not even their families know where they went. A chill ran down my spine. And you think we're next? The agent hesitated. We think you were supposed to be gone already. A sharp knock at the door made all of us jump. Another security officer burst in, his face pale. Sir, we have a problem. The agent turned sharply. What kind of problem? The officer took a breath. We just checked the real-time airport footage. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. They're here, the officer said. I froze. Who's here? The officer's face said it all. Us. The other versions of us. The agent didn't waste a second. He yanked me to my feet, motioning for me to follow. Stay close. Don't stop moving. We bolted down the hallway, my heart pounding so loudly it drowned out everything else. My mind raced. What the hell was happening? Why were there duplicates of us? We burst into the main terminal, and my breath caught in my throat. Across the airport, just past security, stood us. My family. Emily. Jason. Mom and Dad. But not really. They were identical, down to the clothes, the expressions, the way my mom clutched her purse absent-mindedly. But something was wrong. Their eyes. They were empty. Not emotionless, not blank. Just hollow. And then I saw me. Standing right in the middle of them. My own face staring back at me. I went ice cold. How is this possible? I whispered. The agent's grip tightened on my wrist. We don't know. But whatever they are, they're not you. Across the terminal, the other me tilted his head slightly. Then, ever so slowly, he smiled. A chill ran through my entire body. Then, Without warning, they moved. Fast. Unnaturally fast. They didn't push through the crowd like normal people. They slipped between travelers like ghosts, their bodies moving in eerie, fluid motions, their eyes locked onto us. The agent cursed under his breath. Run! We took off. The airport turned into a blur of motion. People yelled, alarms blared, but I didn't stop. I sprinted through the terminal, weaving between passengers, my mind screaming in confusion and terror. I risked a glance back, and my stomach dropped. They weren't running. They were gliding. Their feet barely touched the ground, yet they were gaining on us fast. This way, the agent shouted, yanking me toward a restricted door. He swiped his badge, and the door clicked open. We stumbled through, slamming it shut behind us. For a split second, there was silence. Then, bang. The door shook violently. Bang. The metal groaned as if something inhumanly strong was trying to rip it open. The agent grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me. This is bigger than you. Bigger than your family. Whatever they are, they've been replacing people all over the world. And if they get to you... Loud click. The door was unlocking. The agent's eyes widened. Run! But before we could move, the door swung open. And standing there was me. The duplicate smiled again, that eerie, unnatural grin. Then, in a voice that sent ice through my veins, he whispered, "You're not supposed to be here." I felt like my soul had been yanked out of my body. Standing in front of me was me. Same face. Same build. Same tired eyes. But the thing wearing my face had something I didn't, an unnatural stillness, a wrongness in the way it moved, like a puppet whose strings had been cut and then hastily reattached. It smiled, my smile, but there was nothing human behind it. "You're not supposed to be here." The agent reached for his gun. Too slow. The other me moved first. Before I could react, it lunged forward, gripping the agent's arm and twisting. I heard a sickening snap, followed by his pained yell as his weapon clattered to the ground. I staggered backward. I needed to move. I turned and bolted down the corridor, my heart hammering in my chest. Footsteps echoed behind me, my footsteps. It was chasing me. But as I rounded a corner, I nearly crashed into Emily, Jason, and my parents. "Cass, Sid." Emily's voice was filled with panic. "What's happening?" "We saw them, us, but they..." "No time to explain," I gasped. "We have to." A slow tap, tap, tap echoed from behind me. I turned. My duplicate had stopped at the end of the hallway. The others, the copies of my family, stood behind him. They weren't attacking. They were just watching, waiting. Then the other me spoke again, its voice eerily calm. "You should have left when you had the chance." Jason grabbed my arm. "Cass, what the hell is going on?" "I don't know," I admitted. "But I don't think they're here to hurt us." Mom clutched her purse to her chest. "Then what do they want?" The other me took a step forward. "To take our places." The words sent a chill through my bones. That's what this was. They weren't just copies. They weren't just imitations. They were replacements. We weren't supposed to be here. Because they were supposed to be us. The agent groaned behind me, trying to push himself up despite his broken arm. "They don't just replace you. They erase you." I looked at him sharply. "What do you mean?" He winced, his breath ragged. "People who disappear in these cases. No traces left. Not just missing. It's like they were never born. Their records vanish. Their families forget them." I felt the blood drain from my face. If we didn't get out of here, if we let them replace us, it wouldn't just be death. It would be erasure. Emily's grip on my wrist tightened. "Cass, what do we do?" The other me tilted his head slightly. "You already know." I didn't think. I just acted. I grabbed the agent's gun from the floor. The duplicate's expression didn't change. It didn't flinch. It just watched. "You're not real," I said. It blinked slowly, still calm. Then it whispered, "Neither are you." Something inside me snapped. Pulled the trigger. Bang. The shot rang out. And then, nothing. No impact. No blood. The bullet had gone straight through my duplicate's chest like it was made of mist. But that smile remained. That eerie, knowing smile. Run, the agent rasped. Now. I didn't need to be told twice. I grabbed Emily's hand and sprinted, Jason and my parents close behind. The duplicates didn't chase us. They didn't need to. They just stood there, watching, waiting. We burst through an emergency exit and into the tarmac. A security truck was parked nearby. The agent stumbled toward it, shouting something to the driver. We piled in. As the truck sped away, I risked one last glance over my shoulder. The airport lights flickered. And then, they were gone. No duplicates. No hooded man. Like they had never been there. Like we had never been there. An hour later, we were in a government facility, surrounded by people asking questions I didn't have answers for. Who were they? Where did they come from? Why us? Nobody knew. But as I sat there, a horrible thought crept into my mind. We had escaped. But, had we really? I turned to my family, my breath catching in my throat. What if the switch had already happened? What if I was the duplicate? What if we all were? Emily must have noticed my expression. Cass? She asked cautiously. I forced a smile. I'm fine. But deep down, I wasn't sure. And I don't think I ever would be again. The questions never stopped. For weeks, government officials grilled us, ran tests, analyzed footage, and tried to piece together what had happened. They found nothing. No proof of our duplicates. No security logs showing them at the airport. No records of the surveillance footage we had seen. Even the man in the hoodie, the one I had seen in my dreams, was gone. No trace. No identity. Like he had never existed. And then, the worst part. The flight tickets Emily had booked. They didn't exist anymore. No transactions. No booking records. It was as if the flight had never been scheduled. As if we had never been meant to leave. It was the most terrifying realization of all. Something, or someone, had undone everything. Covered its tracks. And us.